Hey, welcome everybody. It is 7 o'clock Wednesday night. Time for Sci-Fi Distilled. We are continuing with our holiday specials, I guess. We're doing a much better one. Guardians of the Galaxy's holiday special, although it is really a Christmas special, not a holiday in the sense that it doesn't incorporate any other holiday except Christmas. But before we do that, I think Mary Beth has some news.
4 items of news to share with you guys tonight and hear your opinions on. Item number 1, this past weekend, Godzilla -1 had the biggest North American debut of a foreign film in a while, and at the rate it's growing, it'll probably be one of the bigger foreign film debuts that we've had for a long time. It was supposed to have a kind of a short run in the theaters, but it's doing so well, they're going to extend it by a couple weeks, and it's going to be expanded into even more theaters. So it may be coming to a theater near you if you want to check it out. I want to see it. It's getting really good reviews.
Is this the one where it's from the perspective of the city rebuilding people?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
That did look interesting.
It does. It does look interesting.
Yeah.
News item number 2. Tonight, I have some Marvel and DC observations since we are doing a Marvel show tonight. Over on the Marvel side, the Marvels, the movie, The Marvels, tanked, and Marvel, undaunted by our feedback, is doubling down with something else we probably don't care about. They just announced Dakota Johnson starring in Madam Web, coming to theaters in February. And I gotta admit, guys, I kind of don't care.
Oh.
I mean, yes, I actually said that out loud, but I kind of don't care. I just can't get jazzed. They did announce The Eyes of Wakanda, which is a new animated series, and What If season 2 for 2024. I might check those out, but I don't know. Has Marvel lost its way? Like, this special was just coming out in 2022. This special is quite good. Loki was excellent, but everything else just is kind of.
I watched the first episode of the season 2 of Loki, and I haven't gone back to it because I think I need to rewatch 1 to remember what in the hell's going on.
It's chaos. It's very, very good, but it is chaos.
Yeah,
Keeping track is
hard to keep track of. So anyway, I'm sorry. Continue.
That's fine. Over on the DC side of things, this Guardians of the Galaxy Christmas Special is the last MCU thing that James Gunn did before he left to go to do DC, to run the helm at DC. And one of the first projects on his slate, among many, is Superman Legacy, which they are calling a reboot, which frankly already makes me cringe a little bit. Superman Legacy is currently set to be released in theaters July 11th, 2025, so about a year and a half from now, which is pretty bold to set such a specific date for a movie that I don't even think they have a script for, and they certainly have not started shooting, but who knows? Maybe they are all set. I don't know. James is catching heat on social media. First, people were mad because he keeps casting his brother Sean in stuff. He played the Weasel, that Weasel guy. Okay, I get the 2 Suicide Squad movies mixed up, but he played the Weasley guy in the one Suicide Squad movie.
I never saw either one of them.
Oh, we might need to do a compare and contrast of those 2. We will get to see Sean tonight as Kraglin in this show tonight. But I don't know. I like Sean, and I think he should cast him. Sean's great. And I really, really enjoy Kraglin, so I'd like to see more Sean and stuff. And he also had to address rumors. Yeah?
No, which one
were you going to say?
In this? Yeah, Sean Gunn. Yeah, I'm sorry.
Sean Gunn plays Kraglin, yeah.
Yeah. Okay, never mind. Sorry.
But anyway, people are mad at James Gunn for casting Sean, but frankly, I think Sean is awesome. So
he's
go ahead and cast
done
him.
well in this genre. So yeah, I think he's qualified.
He's more than qualified. I mean, people point out that directors do tend to go back over and over and over again to people who they know are reliable and can do what they need. That's not uncommon. So whatever. Anyway, they're also mad at him that he had to address rumors that he had cast Kurt Russell as Jor-El in this upcoming Superman movie. He did not. He had to officially say that he did not. And he also added that the rumor mills have been really wrong lately. So same question for both DC and Marvel. Have they both lost their way?
I think a
Do we
lot of
still
these
enjoy
studios,
hero stuff? Or?
I don't know. I don't think they listen to the fans, and this isn't just. I think it's Marvel, DC, Paramount, Disney. I think a lot of them are just not listening to what the fans want, and maybe they're trying to. I think they're also trying to please too many different genres of people that want certain things, and they're trying to put too much into everything to try to get everybody. But I think if they go back to what has worked in the past, particularly with Star Trek and Star Wars, if they would just look at the past and say, okay, what worked? What do they want? Instead of trying to wedge in whatever agenda they happen to have, it's just make the stuff good. It doesn't have to be this. There's always going to be people that don't like something.
Of course.
Let's just face it. So, but some of the stuff just, it does. Yeah. Like you said, it doesn't like, what were they? It's how many times have we been watching something lately and go, what were they thinking? Like, what's the pattern for that?
This is, Keep that in mind. That's going to apply to my fourth news item tonight. We're going to talk about something else. News item number 3, Strange New Worlds. Season 3 has begun shooting in Toronto. What are our hopes and dreams for season 3? I personally would like to see the captain command. You know what I mean? Like be in command. He's like, I love Anson. I really love Anson. Handsome Mount. But I feel like Handsome Mount spent a lot of time in the back of the room making faces in many of the episodes this past season. So I'd like to see him actually be in command.
Yeah, I agree. This past season, he was practically like a ghost. It was it was more like about Jim Kirk and stuff like that than it was about
lots of Baby Drummer episodes.
Yeah, it just seems like what we liked about Anson as Pike was what we saw in season 2 of Discovery. We want to see that Pike. And we want to see a Pike, and I know people have they also have their own command styles. We want to see. It's come up before. I've said it, but I've heard other people say independently from me that this command structure where people just kind of tell them no, I don't want to do that is just ridiculous. Yeah, so
there's a little loosey goosey on that ship.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's just a little bit too much. It's one thing to listen to your subordinates and take their advice, but when you make an order, that's an order. Do it. You don't go, "Oh, you crazy?" So, and we all know the Benihana in the he spends more time cooking than he does commanding.
In his fabulous quarters, with the fireplace.
It's like called the Benihana. They're like all cooking around this, like
he hosts his own Benihana right there in his quarters. Like, what the hell?
Anyway.
And how come Kirk didn't get that? All right, moving on. News item number 4 tonight. And Rizzo, this is something that I want your thoughts on. Doctor, and this is going to harken back to the Marvel and DC stuff. I have Doctor Who news. Doctor Who, as you guys know, the anniversary specials are out. I've only seen 2. I have not seen the Neil Patrick Harris one, so don't spoil that for me. But the powers that be over at Doctor Who are like, all right, never mind that. We're moving on, people. We're ready for the Christmas special. So there's a new trailer out, and they are getting ready to drop that Christmas special on Disney Plus on December 25th. The name of the show is The Church on Ruby Road, and it will it will be the first episode for the brand new 15th Doctor, Ncuti Gatwa. Now, here's the thing. They have revealed and done a minute-long video clip about the Doctor's new sonic screwdriver, and fans are freaking out. It has completely changed. It's not like they went, okay, here's the old sonic screwdriver, and here's the new sonic screwdriver. No. What they did was, here's the old sonic screwdriver, here's the new sonic screwdriver. And people are looking at this thing. It's round. It's like a figure 8 shape, and it looks like a computer mouse. Or maybe this, it's bizarre. It's absolutely bizarre. And people are flipping out. And I kind of understand it. Like, I kind of do. And so that kind of brings me to the question.
It has certainly changed a lot. But like you said, it's always been a pen shape or a screwdriver.
It's a screwdriver. We know what a screwdriver is.
So, yeah, I mean, there's so many things
where do we
get aggravated.
But you and I have been through a lot of Star Trek changes, right? We've rolled with that. We know there's been Star Wars changes. We're watching DC and Marvel changes. Doctor Who is a show that's gone through, they're on their 15th Doctor. They have redesigned both the TARDIS and the sonic screwdriver before, but never to this extent. So what is it? Where do we draw the line? What,
that was
what,
yeah, I have to see it really to see how bad it is.
can I share? Can I actually share screen? I can show you a
If
picture.
you can, I don't know if you can on this platform. I know
I don't think
I can. I don't know if you can. Anyway, the thing with that is the whole retconning of the history of is what turned me off of Doctor Who of late. I had nothing against Whitaker there as the Doctor. It wasn't that. It was the retconning all the history that he was the original Time Lord or she was the original Time Lord in this particular instance. It was just all this weird retconning that they felt they needed to do for some ridiculous reason. Anyway, so I don't really have an opinion on it at this point because I haven't seen it. And so I have to go back now. All the Christmas shows that they're showing are the old ones though. They're like they're not new.
Yeah, they're about to drop a new one. Yeah.
No, but I mean the ones that they've been releasing now are the ones that were from the old, like the David Tennant one and the Matt Smith one. And okay. Anyway, we shall see. Oh, I don't know. I doubt I'll watch it Christmas Day. I'll probably be too damn tired.
Yeah, no, it won't be like get up, open your presents, eat your Christmas dinner, and then watch Doctor Who. No, probably not. I'll catch it later in the week. But I mean, what are fans when you think about all these all these franchises? What are fans owed in keeping constant and true to certain premises? And where do fans allow creative license? And the broader question is probably just why do we get so upset when they change things? Rizzo has no answer for that.
Well, I think that's like a whole show.
That's like a whole show right there. Why do we get so upset when they change?
We could have a whole show on that. I mean, because there's the older crew. There's all different generations now, especially with something as old as Doctor Who.
At least
we're all going to have different opinions on that. So.
But like the fans are kind of rolling with the continually changing Doctor Who. They don't mind
been since the beginning that we know we're going to get another one after 2 or 3 seasons.
Sure,
we're going to change. That's just the show.
And they've redesigned the TARDIS, but it's always a blue box. Like it's always a blue.
It's always a police box, but the interior changes.
Yeah, the interior changes quite a bit, but the exterior doesn't. Well, it does. The windows size changes.
A little bit,
things like that. Nothing.
Stuff. Yeah, that's minor.
That's minor. But
anyway,
yeah.
I don't know. That's a whole show. We could do a whole show.
If I can, I'll put up a picture of this new sonic screwdriver on our Facebook page. People can weigh in.
Anyway,
all right.
So
what are we drinking tonight?
Before I do that, I want to bring Alex on.
Oh, she made it. She made it.
So there she is. She was running late, but she was the one that really kind of brought this up to my attention. So, I knew about it before, but wanted to do it as a show. So I thought, who better? And apparently she has 9 pages of notes on this.
Wait, no, Rizzo, tell us what we're drinking real quick.
We got a drink. So this one's a Santa Claus Napolitan. So I thought that was now this does make 4 drinks, guys, unless you're a real rummy. I guess you could drink, all of it because it's
vodka.
Those are cups. But it looks good. I think that'd be a good one. I might actually have to make that with for Christmas or something. Triple sec, lime juice, cranberry juice. Pretty simple. Vodka, triple sec. You basically have it. That's basically a kamikaze with cranberry juice.
Cranberry juice, yeah.
That's kamikaze with cranberry juice.
Probably not on Insta, but there's a number of drink Instagrams and they're making all the Christmas drinks right now. Oh God, they make them look so good.
Yeah. But that one looks like it'd be refreshing. So, all right. So, Guardians of the Galaxy. Now, this apparently takes place after Thor: Love and Thunder, I think, or something, or before. Yeah, after, but before obviously Guardians of the Galaxy 3, and it was actually shot while they were making Guardians of the Galaxy 3. That's how they got the nice nowhere. So. But anyway, it's if you guys haven't seen it, it's 45 minutes, so it's not a big draw on your time. It's on Disney Plus. You can see the 2 songs that are in it. You can watch on YouTube. So if you want to then they're actually pretty good songs. And so, yeah, rain, 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 do, or do, rain. Anyway, I can't hear you, Alex. You have no audio. So, and you look like, and it looks like you have it's a Halloween special.
Oh yes, she's quite dark.
It's like dark, just the light on your face. Yeah, can't hear you, Peach. So work on that, and then we'll keep talking.
Anyway, yeah, only a couple songs. Only 45 minutes. Both of the songs became earworms almost immediately for me.
Yeah,
I can pretty much sing them. Like you can sing them right away, which tells you it's a really good, easy, catchy tune.
And they're available, by the way, on at least the I don't know about if it's or what's the name of it?
Marvel Music has it on YouTube.
Well, the actual name of the first song, I don't know what Christmas is. That's actually on Amazon. You can actually listen to it if you have it, in one of the Echo devices, and actually it'll play it. So it's pretty cool.
That's excellent. That's awesome. And then you also heard a couple other snippets of other songs, including the one that's on Saturday Night Live that used to be on Saturday Night Live all the time. I don't care what your father says. Christmas time is here. That one, you heard a snippet of that one, and the other one about so deck those halls and da-da-da, whatever. That one's in the bar too. You hear that one. When Mantis is knocking it back.
Yeah. Well, that's funny. I mean, this one, there's a lot of little actually Easter eggs in it.
Oh yeah.
One of the funniest things. So we'll kind of do the right thing. We'll go with the basic plot is they're on nowhere. It's Christmas time on Earth. Somehow they get wind of it and they want to do something nice for Peter, aka Star-Lord. Because so apparently the story that Sean Gunn's character got was that Yondu. Why did I call him Londo? Yondu, going to Babylon 5. Yondu apparently didn't like Christmas, so he threw they had the little tree and everything, and then he throws it away. There's a little animated opening to it, which is really cool because that was all old school rotoscope.
They actually filmed that live action and then rotoscoped it.
Yeah, which is an old trick.
Which is work. It's a lot of work. Although maybe the computers do it automatically nowadays.
I don't know. It was just they said it was rotoscoped. So the interesting thing was, did they actually do it the old rotoscope way, or did they just film it live and then my guess is the computers just said, okay, we can mimic actual rotoscoping and created it. But I guess that was again James Gunn thing, that it was something from his childhood that he felt he wanted to work into because the old cartoons and stuff were done that way. So that was kind of neat. So it starts off with the young Quill and Yondu throws their thing, all their stuff in the trash, and so he says he never gets a Christmas. So of course, what's his name there? Drax and Mantis decide that they're going to do something nice, and that they decided to go get Kevin Bacon, because remember in one of the movies he mentioned something about Kevin Bacon. Was it the first one he said it? Because he also mentioned Kevin Bacon in one of the other movies
from like 8 years ago.
Right, because of the whole what was it? Footloose thing. Yeah. So anyway, now we have.
You heard him. Let's do a sound check for Alex. Oh, we heard you. Come back.
Wait, how about now? There you go.
We can hear you.
Fantastic.
So yeah, so the idea is they go to Earth to bring Kevin Bacon back to nowhere and of course shenanigans ensue as these two idiots end up on Earth.
There are some laugh out loud.
There are some
I laughed out loud so many times during this.
If we can go back to the little Christmas tree kind of stories. He had such a perfect opportunity to make a callback to the Avengers and say puny tree instead of puny god. I was waiting for it. I didn't get it, and it's probably the only complaint I have about this special.
Puny tree. Oh, that would have been more of a Drax.
Alex, I
Drax
noticed
thing.
you're like in twice because I have you in the waiting room again too. So I don't know what's going on there. I think that's here. Let me just kick you out there. Oh, wrong one. Nope, that was a mistake. Sorry. Kick both of you out. That doesn't make any sense.
Nope.
But sorry, just dial back in. My bad. Well, it was weird. There was like an echo thing going on there.
But I don't know why it was just. Anyway, back to finish the plot. The synopsis.
So, say what?
Finish the plot.
So they go to Earth, and of course they try to go. They end up going through LA, and they find Kevin Bacon's house. And of course, the funniest part is Kevin Bacon is sitting there by himself in the house watching, and I picked it up right away. Here she's back. Sorry about that. My bad.
And now I can't hear everybody.
No, we're still here. Oh, Alex, Mercury just went retrograde today, and it is hitting us full force. So what is Kevin Bacon watching? But
he's watching Santa Claus versus the Martians from 1967, which ironically is what happens to him. Oh, she's gone again. Ironically, is what's going to happen to him shortly. The Martians come and they abduct Santa. That's the plot of that silly movie. By the way, I believe Roy did it a couple of years ago or last year.
Back, yeah.
If you really want to hear a whole breakdown of Santa Claus versus the Martians, you can watch that one.
It's not an acclaimed film, just so you know.
It's bad.
Going into it.
But the irony of him watching that is that's what aliens come and they're going to abduct him.
Yeah, exactly. It's the kind of the plot of it. Yeah.
What was funny was I was watching it the other night with my wife, and we're watching it, and I laughed. I'm like, I said, that's like the 2-second clip that you see on TV that he's watching. I'm like, oh, that's Santa Claus versus the Martians. She's like, how the hell do you know?
Because we know. Because Rizzo knows everything.
Because we know, and it's because it's stupid, nerdy sci-fi crap, and we know this. So it's Kevin Bacon. There's a whole chase scene where he's running away from them because, of course, they break into his house because they're like bull in china shops. But eventually, Mantis does her Jedi mind trick on him, and he goes to nowhere. The funnier part is when they're flying him back, they realize that he's just an actor, that he's really not a superhero or something. And actors are the worst.
Gets a line like, "Oh, I guess actors aren't all pieces of shit." I don't know what her line is. It's something like, "I guess actors aren't all assholes" or something like that.
It was so funny.
I loved it. I loved that nice little piece of meta irony right there.
Because of course they're all actors. And
all right, let's do a sound check on Alex real quick. Alex, can we hear you?
I can hear you guys.
Okay, good.
All right. Back to where we were.
Sorry about knocking you off there. It looked like there was like two of you at one point, so
that's okay.
So anyway, so they bring him back to nowhere, and of course they give him to Peter as a gift, and more holiday singing ensues, and that's the basic plot.
Yeah, that's basically the plot. And Kevin realizes, hey, because Kira calls, and he's like, "How am I getting cell reception?" And Craglin's like, "Oh, we got a couple of satellite dishes." Yeah. And but he's like, "Hey, buddy, hey, sweetie, can I be late because I've got some friends that need to learn about Christmas."
Right? So,
sings the song about, and here it is, Christmas time.
Yeah, which is actually an actual song by the old 97. So the band that plays in the beginning, the first song, which is, I don't know what Christmas is, that band is called the old 97, and at least all the band members are from that band. And they also, the song that Kevin Bacon sings at the end is actually one of their songs that they just used for the show. So that's kind of interesting. One of the interesting facts, if you notice when Kevin Bacon is singing at the end, if you know anything about audio, that microphone is backwards. He's singing, singing into the wrong end of the microphone.
Yeah,
it's like those are directional, and so they're cardioids, so they're meant to be the sound is picked up from a very specific direction, and that mic is 180 degrees from how they screwed that up. It kind of amazes me because
that's an easy thing to catch. Yeah.
What's that now? You got all muffled for a second.
Go ahead.
Stop talking. Somebody talked. That's the whole show. It's these people talk.
I don't know how they missed that. It was a very easy thing to fix and a very easy thing to notice.
Yeah, it happens. Stuff like that happens all the time. It's amazing because those microphones, that style of microphone, goes back to like the 50s, and it's still used today. It's still considered because of the type of sound that it produces, or it records, I should say, has a very certain quality to it. So you'll see, like, even like for instance, I think it was like Johnny Carson had that exact model microphone on his desk that he used for his show, like, for decades. Like, some of them still use it. So anyway, it was just a prop in this particular instance.
Making the joke that these aliens don't know anything about Earth and Earth things, including Earth microphones, or they wanted it to look, they wanted the audience to recognize it was a microphone, but we would have, even if it had been backward.
Either way, it's not like, only really somebody that knows that microphone would know that it's backwards.
Yeah, it went right over my head the first time. So
again, you'd have to be kind of in the industry and know that specific model to know that it was backwards. So anyway, moving on. Didn't really mean to spend 10 minutes on the microphone, but so Alex, you have all these notes. Note us.
I do, yeah. I know that holiday specials are usually cheesy, and they tend to feel like a cheap knockoff of the series that they're coming from. But one thing I like about this holiday special is that Guardians is kind of known for being silly humored anyways, which kind of makes it easier to make a quality holiday special and still be cheesy and still be kind of on the nose about tropes, whether it's holiday tropes or Guardians tropes. But what I like about having an entrance between the two films, between volume 2 and 3, is that it's not just a special for holiday's sake. It's like, you still find out important information. Have you guys already warned about spoilers? Are we caring about spoilers?
No, I wouldn't worry about it.
Okay. So we find out that Mantis and Peter are siblings, and this is actually how we find that out. We don't find that out in volume 2 or volume 3. In volume 3, it's just kind of treated like knowledge we already had. So I like that we have something in this that's carried through. And if you stick around for the end credit scene for volume 3, you actually see in the newspaper that there's an article about what happened to Kevin Bacon back during Christmas. So it does carry through, and there's still things from the special that are in the main trilogy, which is, I really appreciate that.
Well, that's a good point. That's right. I forgot that it wasn't revealed, except here, that she was his brother or sister.
Yeah.
Half sister.
Yeah. This is the only place we find it out. They've been going back and forth. If you guys Google an actress named Jennifer Sharp, Sharp, there are photos of her out there dressed as a mantis type creature with the antenna, and she is with Kurt Russell. And so, at the time, right after the movie came out, so in 2017 or 2018, whenever 2 came out, she tweeted or put on her Insta, with the shot of her with Kurt and saying, hey, it was such an honor to work with Kurt Russell in a quick flashback scene as Mantis's mother, even though the scene got cut. And then later they asked her to take that down. And James Gunn, when answering questions about it, said, oh yeah, we just use models to, like, do you remember during that scene where Ego's showing all the women he slept with? They're like, he's like, yeah, we use models for that. And I think they actually had a little scene with Mantis's mother. And they did cut it. So yeah, Jennifer Sharp, go ahead and Google her. You'll find those photos. So for whatever reason, I don't know why, it seems like it would have been cool information to have, but whatever.
Yeah, I'm surprised they didn't reveal it at the end of 2.
It
made more sense to do it there.
It would have made more sense, but it would have been nice if they had decided to cut it from that to put it into the Christmas special. This would have been a perfect moment.
Oh, you mean the actual flashback scene?
Yeah.
Flashback scene.
Yeah. Well, then they got to pay Kurt Russell to do
Kurt Russell.
That is true.
And they did film this during 3, so they probably just wanted to use who they had on hand.
Right.
They did, even if they had dropped the hints in 2 and kind of made us, well, is she or isn't she, and then confirmed it in this, it still would have been fun. Like, that would have been fine.
Yeah, absolutely.
It doesn't matter. Even though they sprung this on this and it felt a little wedged in, it still was really sweet and nice and made sense because Ego, it made perfect sense, except the fact that Ego killed all his other children and somehow kept Mantis alive. But other than that, it made perfect sense.
Well, Mantis, I assume, is for the superpower. She's quite heavily powered, and it is very understated and usually played off for laughs, but that's quite the superpower to have.
Yeah, well, that is true. Now, I don't know if that's an ability that she gained from Ego, or if that's just something that's a natural ability of her species.
Of her species.
That's a good point.
They've never really said why she could do that, or maybe she's just like this particular, anomaly within her own species.
Yeah,
that is a good point. Yeah.
While we're talking about Mantis, I gotta give mad props to Palm. What's her last name? Clementiev. She kind of carried this entire thing because they did not use Nebula. She and Dave Bautista, because they didn't use Nebula that much. We did see Rocky and Cosmo. They weren't too heavy in it. We saw Groot, but he wasn't too heavy in it. We saw Kraglin, but Mantis and Drax carried this entire Christmas special. It was like the Mantis and Drax show.
It really was.
And don't we want another one? Because they're pretty funny.
Yes.
Yeah, no, it was hysterical. Their whole thing in LA with they're drinking and she's like the smoke's coming out of her mouth. Another one. Keep them going.
That was really good.
Yeah, and then she's like, I can't believe none of our new homies. Like just the words she chooses and her delivery and stuff. Like she did a great job. And now I'm suddenly like, I need more Mantis.
Yeah,
I need and having these two characters be kind of the main instigators of the story is so fitting, because like Christmas specials are traditionally about people finding the spirit of Christmas and relearning the spirit of Christmas and being loving and giving, whereas this Christmas special was kind of focused on the Guardians literally learning about Christmas and the lore and the traditions and whatnot. So to have Drax as the literal side of that, and then to have Mantis as like the emotional, the heart of it, like it just makes sense that these two characters were the main for this little special. I thought that was great imagery.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, it's true. And it did kind of follow a little bit of a trope because we have a sad Peter Quill, who's kind of missing. He's kind of doesn't even realize it, but he is. And then which you'd think he would have been a little bit more embracing of the song in the beginning, although it was kind of funny where he's like, no, that's not the lore at all.
That's not how it goes.
Well, you have to remember what he's coming back from in this special, right? Like Gamora's just, like the whole thing with Gamora happened for him. So he's mourning the loss of the love of his life while everyone's talking about Christmas and these old Earth traditions that he doesn't really want to remember because he's sad and depressed. And what I appreciate about taking the time in this special is that you kind of see that character development. You see that he's trying to distract himself from this depression that's coming upon him by setting up Nowhere and kind of being as tolerant as he can of his friends while he's in this kind of stoop. But then it sets up the fact that it didn't really work, because we see that in volume 3 where it's definitely a lot worse.
Well, the other thing is they set up in the beginning with the animation that Yondu pretty much squashed any Christmas, even though Yondu at the end kind of, so that he never had Christmas growing up. Like that was not a thing. So he was, maybe he needed a little bit of cheering up too to get him back into that. I don't know. They kind of implied that he never got a Christmas after they tried that first one, and Yondu shot it down.
Well, because they had to be hard about it. Like he said, they don't do handouts. They work for everything that they have while he wants to support Peter. And what I like about seeing that is that we do see that Yondu's always had that familial bond with Peter. As complicated as their relationship has been throughout the series, that love has always been there between the two of them. So I really like seeing that in the special.
Right.
Yeah. When Yondu, it was sad when Yondu passed. Spoilers, guys, if you haven't seen any of the Guardians films. When Yondu passed, that was actually genuinely sad. Like that was
It
really
was.
like tearjerking.
Yeah.
Yeah. We started to talk about other plot points. And yes, the fact that Mantis is his sister is like the huge one. Other minor ones is Groot's all grown up, because the last time we saw him in 2, he was still little. And then they bought Nowhere, so now they have kind of a headquarters, I guess. But they've settled into they're like Lando Calrissian being the businessman on Bespin. Right. They've settled into the business side of the mining of Nowhere. So it's interesting.
Yeah. So it was a nice it's actually a nice transition, like you say, between the films, and to kind of get you rolling into 3. It just, like it sets up a few little things outside the fact that she's just, I mean, it's great. It's a nice reveal, but it didn't really have a huge impact on the story in 3 that she's his sister.
No, it didn't. It didn't
really have a huge impact. It was a nice I don't know. I seemed like I wasn't even that shocked about it.
I kind of disagree with you there that it doesn't pay off in volume 3, because like I feel like since Mantis was introduced and we got the Christmas special, she's been clung to the Guardians. She's been so desperate for their approval and desperate to be there for them and support them, sometimes to her own detriment. Like at the beginning of the Christmas special, she says to Drax that she's worried that Peter's not going to accept her, that he's going to be mad at her, that he's going to hate her. And then at the end of the Christmas special, we see him really accept her. And as my title says, calls her the best Christmas present ever. And that just lights up her entire world. Like she has such an emotional response to that. And then we kind of get to see the beginning of that leading into volume 3, where we see more familial bonds being explored, like Nebula and Gamora, and Mantis gets to see that, and it kind of gives her the confidence to say, you know what, I'm good enough on my own. I have a family to come back to. Peter's always going to love me. Peter's always going to be there for me. He's my family. So now I have the strength and security and assurance to go off and do my own thing and know that I have a home to come back to, even if it is nowhere.
Yeah, this was the most we saw of Mantis, because in 2 she's quiet. I don't want to say mousy, but she's just quiet, and she's so much about people's emotions. And then all of a sudden in this one, she finally is all about her own emotions, and how she felt. Like she, at the end, when she's telling Peter and she's crying, and she wasn't manipulating him in that moment. Those were her emotions. So.
Well, she does. You're right. She takes quite a bit of charge when they get to Earth, because Drax.
She's hilarious.
Drax is just a moron. And even
but she has to babysit Drax. He's like a giant 6-foot toddler running around destroying things. She's like, keep him in check.
Like you literally, I don't know why she took him with her. It's like she could.
Wasn't there a line like, "I wish I brought Groot" or something?
The bar scene, which is hysterical. Prior to that, is they're walking in, I guess, Hollywood Boulevard. They're by the big theater, the Chinese theater, which I guess a lot of cosplay people, professionals, will walk around and let tourists take pictures of them for money. So they end up making a lot of money because they look like they're supposed to be, of course, acting. But if you notice at one point, this is what's hysterical. And those of you guys that know some of this lore, Drax is beating up a guy that's dressed as a Transformer, which that Transformer is Psykill. And in the Transformer Autobot thing, it's always Psykill always gets the shit kicked out of him. Like a thing. So it was hysterical that Drax was kicking the shit out of this that
wanted to go back. Mantis has the line, like she's holding him back and she's got the line, "Oh, GoBot's killed his cousin" or something.
Yeah, it's like, so it was just a Transformer in the Decepticon. They always, like, Psykill was always the easiest one that gets killed. Like, he could, boom, he's dead. So it was just funny that Drax was a little, those songs are, there's little Easter eggs in there like that are freaking hysterical.
Oh, it was beautiful storytelling. It was only 45 minutes long, but it was beautiful storytelling for sure.
Yeah.
Speaking of Easter eggs, let's debate here now. How did Nebula get Bucky's arm?
I know, that was driving me crazy, actually.
They don't explain it. Well, because you remember Rocket did say something in the earlier one of the Avenger films that I'm gonna get that arm. He does.
Yes.
He's gonna get his arm. So, like,
and not only that, he's always been
him always wanting the leg or the guy's eye or whatever. Like, he always wants somebody's prosthetic.
Why he wants parts and pieces. So that's neither here nor there. But I want to know how Nebula, did she make it? Did she sleep with Bucky? Did she just rip it off him? Like, how did that happen?
I think that's one of those things that they leave to your imagination.
True.
I guess.
Just, you know, it's right.
I guess,
I think it's just funny that she got it
together again.
Like I said, I think the joke is that if you remember that Rocket said, "I'm going to get that arm." At one point, he has that line in one of the movies that it was one of the Avenger movies with him.
I think it actually comes up multiple times,
maybe more than once. Well, we obviously know he has an obsession with prosthetics.
Yeah. I was gonna say, yeah, he's always kind of had an obsession with grabbing stuff like that.
Well, the first time he did it to Quill, he did it as a joke. Like, I can't believe you actually. Like, I don't need the leg. Remember, because I had to pay him all this money for the leg.
Well, that's what I mean for it being a quality special, is that it ties in from the main trilogy. It's not just a little installment that's meant to be seen and then forgotten. It does tie everything in.
Everything, yeah.
I mean, when I saw the big box, I assumed it was
throwaway.
I thought it was going to be a giant gun. You know, when I saw him bring him the big box, and I assumed it was going to be a cannon thing, and then it's Bucky's arm, and I'm like, I think I almost did a spit take when he pulled that out.
What I like in Volume 3 is Nebula's emotional reaction to Rocket having a rocky time. And I found that a lot of people were quite surprised that she felt so strongly, but I feel like this gift was a really understated way to say how much Nebula has really been paying attention, how much she understands her friends, at the very least Rocket, how much she does appreciate him and remembers things about him. She was thinking about him when she didn't have to, which, if we remember Nebula from where she started, that was not her way of being. So I just love that we have a moment away from life and death situations that we can see character development, character growth, and we can see what the Guardians are like away from life and death stakes, that they do care about each other, that they do think about each other. And it's just so heartwarming that somebody so cold as Nebula has grown so much.
Nebula's had a huge arc over the movies. I love Nebula. I love Karen Gillan. I love Nebula. But then I love the facts, like when Kevin Bacon runs and he's like, "Go get Kevin Bacon," and she's like, "You cannot run, Bacon." He's like, "Don't kill Kevin Bacon." She's still never. Here's the thing. That's what's so brilliant about Guardians of the Galaxy in general, is they keep all of these characters like weird little personality quirks, even as they're evolving. They still have their unique personality. So Nebula's my favorite, easily over Gamora, heads and shoulders. And I actually think Nebula is probably the stronger of the two. And I often wonder if, now I'm going on a Nebula rabbit hole, but I often wonder if Thanos saw Nebula as more of a threat to him than Gamora, because poor Nebula is the one that got torn apart and parts and pieces replaced, and all that.
Gamora, I always felt, was one of those characters that you got frustrated with because she was always pushing him away, and you're like, just quit being so cold. You know what I'm saying? And just, I don't know, that was always I always find her kind of an character that you kind of found irritating after a while. It's like, okay, dragging it now. Of course, in the third one, she doesn't remember him, so we're kind of like starting over again with their whole relationship or lack thereof. So I find those things frustrating. I know some people like that whole relationship, the chase thing, but you're right. Nebula has had a great arc, and she's become a great character, especially with her work, her and Rocket, the way they have kind of, what we saw in 2, the way they're kind of bounced off each other has been really good. And it's the same thing with Mantis and Drax. There's kind of this kind of buddy movie thing going on here with the kind of the two clueless ones that go to Earth of all the people. Those are probably the worst two to pick.
Yeah,
they're all obsessed about the candy cane and the little elf guy, and he's like, "I'm taking this." That's why they're all out here, isn't it?
Hey, man, does this look like a man to you?
Oh, man. Yeah.
Well, what is it? It's a shape. So many cute moments.
Maybe they know creatures that are shaped that way. I don't know.
You never really know, I guess.
It's funny, and then the whole scene with the police, and you're kind of like, okay, this could go really bad. And of course, you know, they kind of rough up those cops a little.
But, yeah.
Sorry, we don't really just sleep.
My favorite part was actually the gifts that recount the story right up to that moment.
Yeah.
Like right up to Craglin's gift, which was Craglin opening the gift. Like it gets us right up to date to that moment. It's so funny.
And you know what? There was such a cute moment in that gift exchange. Like while Groot is walking along to give the gifts to everybody else, Nebula is watching it like she expects this, like it's nothing normal. But then, or it's nothing not normal. I'm not speaking right. Nebula then gets a gift handed to her, and all of a sudden you see this shock come over her face. Like, what is that? That's for me? That's mine?
Yeah.
Somebody thought of me? And that was such a beautiful little like low-key moment that I'm like, oh my God, that spent a second and a half on screen. And I'm like, oh, don't look at me.
Yeah. That's Karen. I mean, that all nods go to Karen. She's amazing.
Honestly, such amazing acting. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
And actually, like with Nebula as well, during Kevin Bacon's song, we see her dancing to the song, which is kind of played for laughs because she's got the little like jerky movements and whatever. But like, I kind of think that's a subtle nod and kind of an introduction to how her and Gamora are now going to switch spots in Volume 3. That Gamora is going to be more of the cold one that doesn't really like interact with people very well, and Nebula is the one that now is the member of the Guardians of the Galaxy that's trying to help mend things with her sister. I feel like that was a cute little like introduction to be like, look, Nebula is very much at the same kind of point that Gamora was when she was discovering love and friendship and chosen family, and now Nebula gets to go on that same journey.
Yeah, Nebula maybe does not innately have a softer side, but she's learning to create a softer side, maybe.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think which one Nebula's gift was. Drax got him flipping the car, and she's between Drax and Kraglin. Drax got the car flipped. Kraglin got Kraglin opening the gift. What was Nebula's? I can't remember.
Oh, that's a good point. I can't remember.
Doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter. We don't really need to go through the cast. I think we pretty much know if you know Guardians of the Galaxy, they're pretty much that's the cast.
If there were any other, like on Earth, if anybody, the one cop upside down is their head of security. You hear from him if you break their copyright laws. That kind of security, not.
It might be worth pointing out that Kevin Bacon this is his first, obviously, in the Marvel Universe, because he played Sebastian Shaw, I think it was, who was the guy that had the brain. He had his own movie there. I got it right here. Hang on.
Yeah.
I looked it up.
He was in X-Men. He played whatever.
Oh, that's right. He played Emma Frost's partner.
I thought it was. He plays. Where is it? Come on now.
You're looking that up. I just watched Kevin in Leave the World.
He played Sebastian Shaw in the Marvel X-Men First Class.
Yeah, X-Men First Class. Yes.
The point I'm trying to make is this has nothing to do with that.
And it has. He's been in Marvel before. And did you notice in the ship when they were flying back to nowhere, he does the "I'm Batman." So there's DC in Marvel. And a lot of people really like notice those. It's tiny. It's absolutely tiny.
Oh yeah, because they said they said be a hero, and he starts doing like he's on Omaha during the Second World War.
Yeah, he's like
doing this thing.
I'm British.
They're like, no, not that. He's like, well, he's Batman. That was
I'm Batman.
Yeah, I'm Batman.
No, not that.
Not that.
It's so funny with the commentary about actors too, how like I'm sure a lot of I really wonder actually if a lot of that was improv, but like you're just a horrible, disgusting actor. We hate you.
You're an actor? Yeah, we talked.
I guess not all actors are just pieces of
Yeah.
Yeah. What? Yeah, I don't know what the line was, but yeah. Oh God.
That was Nebula.
Oh, yeah, that was Nebula. I couldn't remember if it was complete assholes. I think what the line was complete assholes. I don't remember.
It could be.
It could be, but this thing was for kids, so I'm trying to remember. I don't think there was a lot of swearing in it.
It was family friendly. I wouldn't say it was
yeah.
for kids. I wouldn't call it for kids. I think it was family.
Yeah, I would agree.
I wouldn't say it was directed just at children.
So the post-credit scene was Cosmo and Rocket trying to decorate Groot.
As if he was a tree. Yeah,
and he's like, great, now we need another special. Did you notice that both Rocket and Cosmo were like looking right into the camera? Like they were breaking the fourth wall and looking right into the camera for that. And I was like, yes, we do need another special.
Yes, we do, especially one of this magnitude.
Of this, yeah. Here I am rewatching this a year later, and it's still awesome.
I think it was James Gunn that pushed this. I think the reason they probably did it was because they had the set already there. And he wrote the thing in like an hour.
Yeah, in a couple days he had it written.
He literally said they rewrote it in for like 45 minutes.
Yeah, I'm sure he did. So, but yeah, you're right. They did it because they were already filming 3, so they already had the gang together. And it was the very first thing they did for Disney. Specifically for Disney, that Marvel did for Disney. And it was the very last thing that James Gunn did before he left to go do DC. And now have all the DC problems that he has.
Yeah, I know. It's like you think, I guess they like the challenges, because I don't know if I would be sitting there as a successful director and then go looking over at the hot mess that is DC and go, oh yeah, I want to go over there. I know they probably waved a ton of money in his face, which is always the motivating factor. But at some point, you got to look at your own career. I'm like, do I really want to go from successful here to shit show over here? That it could ruin my career because there's just they can't. Because it's one thing to write something, but that clearly I think DC's problem is bigger than their directors. There's a lot going on. I don't think that the directing has always been the biggest issue. It's the writing. And probably the studios mucking about too much.
Marvel may have the problem of actually being too ambitious and biting off more than they can chew. If they just kept it a little bit smaller, they could have more cohesiveness. When things get too big, you start losing cohesiveness. So I don't know. Which brings us right back to the conversation we had at the top of the show. Why do fans get annoyed with franchises when they changed? Well,
I mean, it's not even changing stuff. I don't know. I think there is burnout on superhero stuff. I think there is too. Personally, enough.
Which is, again, it also brings us back to the start of the show. They're about to release some new Marvel, and I'm like,
yeah, I don't care. I'm like, yeah, I'm just like, I think they did an awesome job. Marvel did with their whole Infinity War arc. From really when they started it, which started with the original Iron Man, that's where it started. And you figure how many movies now that they had to build. Now, some of them were good and some of them were not so good. But when we got to the end of that whole arc, you're like, it's done. It's complete. And then, we're going to keep going and keep going and keep going because they had to. I would rather have seen them say, okay, we're going to leave the Avengers aside for now. They're just kind of idling and maybe do like a really good, I don't know, Fantastic Four. Let's go to a different part of their universe that hasn't been really tapped very well.
I mean, they're trying with Fantastic Four.
They've tried. And I don't know.
And I'm pretty pumped for the next Deadpool movie with Wolverine.
Yeah,
I think that's
very excited for that. Yeah,
been the really shining jewel of lately. Of those, because those two movies were both good, and I think we have really, it's not because of the network, it's because of Ryan Reynolds.
I think it's Ryan Reynolds, yeah, and that's a great example of him correcting a mistake. Remember his very first turn
at was in the Wolverine movie, and it was awful.
And everyone was like, "What was that?" And then Ryan Reynolds was like, "Yeah, you know what? You're right. Let's do this better." And he did.
Right.
God love him for that.
And not only that, if you watch the credits, Deadpool 2, he uses Cable's time thing to fix all that stuff. Like literally kills Ryan Reynolds.
Green Lantern too. Yeah, that was my favorite part, honestly.
Because that's Ryan driving it home. Like, yes, I hear you and I agree with you. That was
It was that was the funniest part of the movie. I was laughing so hard.
The post-credits.
Yeah.
I was with somebody in the theater watching it, and they weren't really aware of all that stuff, that his history. And they're like, "Why are you laughing so hard?" I'm like, "I'll explain later, but this is the best part of the whole movie." It's making me laugh just thinking about it. So.
All Deadpool is so meta. Like when he goes to the mansion, to the X-Men mansion, and I don't know if it's teenager or
we only can afford two.
Two of you. Almost as if there wasn't budget for any other X-Men. It's like, yeah, you know what? He's right. Like
movie is the fourth wall break,
Yeah, the whole movie is a giant
fourth wall break. That's like 16 wall breaks.
In the second one, didn't we get to see like a whole room of them too, just to call back to that joke?
Well, there was one where they opened the door or something, and they're all in there behind him.
It's all of them, yeah.
He didn't.
And then they shut the door.
Yeah, they don't talk or anything because God knows you'd have to pay them too much.
Yeah, but I mean, it was just the joke that they were there, but he didn't see them. That was in the second one. Yeah, they did that in the second one. So anyway, funny stuff. So. Well,
we did already get off topic there, but what I was wondering is if this Christmas special was good enough for you guys to add to your normal Christmas lists. Would you watch this every year, or is this just something that but is this something that just goes in the Marvel catalog?
I'd watch it. I didn't mind watching it again. I watched it last year. I watched it this year.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if I would have watched it again.
Yeah, if I had not had to do it for this. But I'll watch this head and shoulders over the Star Wars.
I can see if you're really into this, like that particularly, the Guardians or Marvel, that you would make
or
it.
Christmas.
I mean,
even if you're not, it stands alone.
Yeah, no, it does stand alone. I mean, it's a good holiday. We have. I mean, it's hard, like because we grew up with so many of those weird classics.
Yeah, we grew up watching. I am not just a misfit. You can't fire me. I quit. Why? Harvey wants. Hey, everybody! Harvey wants to be a dentist. That's what we
off the reindeer.
Which they had that they said something about that in the first song that they played in the opening of this special.
The red note. Yeah. Red.
He wanted to be a dentist. Now he's sleeping with the fishes.
Now he's sleeping with the fishes. Right. That was I want to be a dentist.
Hey everybody! Harvey wants to be a dentist.
But usually it's about time for me to change my profile pic to Unicorn Cornelius.
Why don't I fit
so
in?
We grew up with all those, the Year Without a Santa Claus. I mean, how many of us were singing on the school bus?
They were on TV, so we just watched
it. But I mean, I remember when that first aired, The Year Without a Santa Claus, and every kid was singing Heat Miser and Freeze Miser, that freeze on. Every kid was singing that. So, and it's still one of the better ones. We just don't get those really cool puppet animated ones that we all grew up with.
It's true. I love that animation style. I wish, even though we do have the technology to do quote unquote better animation, I do wish we took a step back a little more. And did things like that more often.
I want to say they did one recently with the same style. I'm sure they didn't I don't know if they actually built the puppets or they just created it with CGI. I mean, that's the thing with CGI. They can just recreate that exact look and you would never know that it wasn't a puppet.
That's true.
So, but you're right. They had a certain quality to them that we all kind of fell in love with. And as kids, of course, that was when we were children and we had 4 channels. And those Christmas specials was what we had. I mean, it's funny.
Was that or Falcon Crest? You
think so. You watch those or Christmas. My memories of Christmas has always been those shows. Is always ramping up to Christmas Day because they were always on early. The Sears Christmas wish book. Remember the catalog that had all the toys? Sears?
I was actually talking about that the other day. I was talking with my coworker and we were talking about ordering a Sears catalog just to flip through it. Like you can't do anything with them anymore, but we want them still. It's Christmas tradition. That's how you know Christmas is coming.
Especially during the Star Wars era, they used to do these great little dioramas with all the Kenner figures. And I used to sit in you're circling or dog-earing the pages and putting and leaving them in front of your parents like this is what I want. So I don't know if kids really have that with all the internet stuff. I always sound so nostalgic, but I'm sure they have their own things.
Bill, the original Grinch. You're a mean. The original Grinch, whoever sang that song, "You're a Mean One, Mr. Grinch," also voiced Tony the Tiger. Anyway, moving on.
Yeah, and it was voiced by Boris Karloff. That guy did a ton. The guy that sang the song did a ton of stuff for like Disney, and he had a very distinct voice. And I could look it up, but he did a lot of stuff. But the original Grinch, of course, is also a classic with Boris. But yeah, again, all those stuff when we were kids, they were all either the Peanuts. That's one I do.
But you don't add anything.
It's the Christmas Tree, Charlie Brown, whatever it's called. I do.
So you don't add anything. You don't add any new things as the years go on.
Well, no.
Did your daughter have a different set than you, Rizzo?
I don't really. We used to show her the stuff that we grew up with, of course. I don't know. You'd have to ask her if she has anything that she
aired Home Alone every Christmas.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no, we never watched Home Alone. She's definitely on board with Die Hard, so we haven't watched that.
Yeah, I don't know how you guys fight about how Die Hard is a Christmas movie, but you don't watch Home Alone.
I didn't say.
I would watch Home Alone.
It was just a movie from like 1990 or whatever it was. And it was just a movie. I don't know.
I love Home Alone.
As is Die Hard. I don't.
Not Christmas until Hans Gruber falls off the Nakatomi Tower. I just like Die Hard better. That's all.
You just admitted you haven't even seen Home Alone.
I have seen it. I've seen it.
I thought I heard you say you hadn't seen it.
No. It was just a movie from like 1990. It's like I saw it when it came out, and it was a movie. There's a lot of movies I haven't watched. I only watched the one or two. I mean, I've seen it more than once.
Like our Christmas specials, for a hot minute there, it would re-air more like Thanksgiving, but it would be re-aired every holiday. So you would see it again.
Yeah, I mean, it's like kind of like the way.
Let's face it, for a long time, the networks kind of dictated our Christmas traditions to us in a lot of ways.
True.
Absolutely. It's
now we have more choice.
I got
we have to create our own tradition.
TBS still does the 24 hours of A Christmas Story.
Oh God! Yes, the Christmas Story. We did that last year.
I will still put that on. I'll just leave it running.
Oh yeah,
we would watch Christmas Story. Even though I have the DVD, I could do the same thing, but I put the TBS one on, and it drives my family nuts.
Christmas Story is infinitely quotable. We did do it on this show. Yeah, it's another good one.
Yeah, no, it's a great. There's a tradition, but I don't bother watching it beforehand. I'll just leave it on Christmas Day while I'm working.
Because anytime you walk in, you know where they are.
Yeah, seriously.
And the funny thing is,
we
showed this on the show. The thing with that movie is like my dad, he's 88, and he'll watch that movie, and he really relates to it because he was that age during. That was the 1940s. Yes. He was roughly that age. So he was born in 35, so he was around. And this was, I think it actually takes place after the war.
I think so too.
I think we determined, I don't remember.
Yeah,
but
he's
like, oh yeah, I remember going by Macy's and they having that big setup and the thing. And, because he grew up in New York City and in Brooklyn. And
things in the movie like cars. Oh, look at that car. Oh, look at that thing in the house. My parents had that.
All that stuff in that movie. He goes, yep.
Watching your elderly parents get all nostalgic is worth the price of admission.
Like, the whole thing with the radio and the the Orphan Annie radio show and the decoder ring and all that stuff. That was his childhood. That was it.
Bill Sotek. Bill says Home Alone is Die Easy versus
Die Easy. It's the more family-friendly version.
It is kind of Die Hard. He does have to put up a battle against home invaders.
I raised my child properly on Die Hard.
Oh, that's funny.
I'm sure she actually does like Home Alone. I think my daughter has seen it and she likes it, and she has tried to get us to watch it, but we're always just like,
Well, next week is the last week of Christmas, so we should pick one.
Yeah, I don't know what we're gonna do next week.
8:03. Let me just say super quick, and then we can get back to spiffing. Roy is finally this Friday, going to get to the Wonderful World of the Brothers Grimm, which he had skipped previously. And Phil tomorrow, guys. Joe Denizen is the new violinist for Kansas. Yes, the rock band Kansas. He will be on with Phil tomorrow afternoon, Friday Night Freeform. They're going to read The Grinch. tune in and check it out. So anyway, back to what we were talking about. Yeah, what are we doing our last week before the holiday? We got to pick a good one. We got to pick a
I'm
fun
open
one.
to suggestions. Don't say Home
I
Alone.
want to do Home Alone because
Just don't say Home
What about Jim Carrey's The Grinch?
Oh, we've had this conversation. She's saying that on purpose because
I am. Yeah.
Jim Carrey's The Grinch. I prefer the original Grinch.
Thank
But
you.
Yeah. I never said that I didn't. I'm just saying that The Grinch is like a nice deeper dive into the lore that was set up successfully by the original cartoon. The original cartoon is, of course, where it's at. I, to this day, do not watch the Jim Carrey's version without watching the cartoon version, whether first or after. The first DVD I had of the Jim Carrey's Grinch had it play automatically after Jim Carrey's version was over. It's just not something that you pass up. You
really,
do a cartoon.
if you go farther back, it was Dr. Seuss wrote the book.
Yeah, it's a Dr. Seuss.
Before it was a cartoon. But I just don't care for Jim Carrey's that version of it. I don't like any of the Dr. Seuss live action ones. I just don't think they work.
For Tilly, I could put the thing on Tilly's head and she could sit here with me. It'd be so cute.
So we did Die Hard last year, so you can look that one up.
Do Lethal Weapon. That's a Christmas movie.
Lethal Weapon.
It's Christmas the way. Okay, we'll do Prometheus. That's a Christmas movie.
Yes, oh my God, if we're doing that. That is hilarious. A whole hour to
Prometheus is terrible.
Oh,
it is terrible, which is why it's so fun to talk about.
We could do Gremlins.
We talked about Gremlins.
Or
Do we
Ghostbusters
have to
2?
decide now? Can I like think about it?
Or Iron Man 3?
Iron Man 3.
Is that a Christmas movie?
Is that a Christmas movie?
I think it takes place at Christmas.
Wow, that one's a stretch, I think.
Back to
That
Gremlins.
wasn't even a good one. Because the only really good Iron Man was the first one.
I agree. I completely agree on that. Yeah.
So
I like all three of them.
Well, yeah, I know.
I'm just too big a fan of Robert Downey Jr. I can't say that anything
you guys
he
are
does
gonna
is
laugh,
bad.
but I've never actually seen Gremlins in its entirety.
Nobody has.
I've only seen clips of Gremlins.
Did you say nobody has? You also haven't seen Gremlins in its entirety?
You know what? We went on a field trip that for some reason didn't work out, and so our teachers brought us to the theater to watch Gremlins. I saw Gremlins in its original run in the theater.
Oh, so you did see it.
Like in full though, right?
When was that? 1980?
Yeah, it's 88 or something like that.
That was the last time you'd seen it?
That's 88.
It was
I was in elementary, so it was
I've
like
only
81.
seen bits of it on TV here and there. I didn't see it in the theater, and I've just never bothered to sit down and watch it. It's just
1984. So I would have been.
So it was, wow, I was in high school. Yeah, I'm surprised because I thought I saw like everything that was in the theater during those years. But that's what you did. I mean, that was the thing. You went to the movies. I don't know. Well, it's way past the hour here, guys. I don't know. We'll come up with something.
No one's watching
Is
anymore.
there another Christmas special that we want to cover rather than a movie?
There probably is, but I don't know. It would be Grinch and Harvey wants to be a dentist and all that. I can't think of the real name of that.
Land of the Misfit Toys.
No, that's Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer is the one with I Want to Be a Dentist.
Yeah, it's Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer, the Land of the Misfit Toys, because there's many installments of Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer, but this one is the Land of the Misfit Toys.
The original one, then they
okay, Keeper, I'm sorry.
That makes no more sense to me.
Yeah, there's just the original puppet one was just Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer. There was nothing. It's just like there's Star Wars, and then there's Empire. There's not, it's Star Wars is Star Wars, the first movie.
He doesn't call it new.
Just like James always tells you, there's Star Trek, and then there's other stuff. So anyway, all right, we'll come up with something. We always do. So I'll figure it out. But I'm willing to take suggestions because I really don't know what to do. And then I don't know if are we going to be on between Christmas and New Year? Or we're going to take a break.
In between Christmas and New Year's, you could do that on the 27th. Have an open mic night Christmas party.
Night. All right. Well, we'll put a pin in that.
I bet that means That means no. Whenever Rizzo says we'll put a pin in it, it's like no.
True. I don't want to commit to anything. That's all. I don't think that's unreasonable.
So weird.
All right. Well, before everybody just turns us off anyway, we're going to wrap this up. This is a good one. If you don't have Disney Plus, well, I'm sorry. I guess you can't watch it, but
It's great.
it's worth if you have Disney Plus, it's worth seeing, especially even if you have kids. I think it's family friendly. So, and
I
if
think
you
so
like
too.
Guardians, I'm sorry,
It's on my annual Christmas list every year. This is going to be revisited for me.
Yeah, it's a good one. I could see it. It's worthy of that. It is worthy of that. So, all right, guys. Well, Alex, thank you for joining us again.
Yeah,
Pleasure,
absolutely.
and of course, and we'll see you next week with something Christmassy or holiday like. In the meantime, everybody, hope you get your shopping done. We're down to what, 11 days, 12 days, something like that.
12 days, yeah.
Baylock hasn't given me an update. You will now have 11 days left.
Come on, Baylock, step it up.
All right. On that note, guys, good night. Live long and prosper. We'll see you next week. Have a good one. Bye-bye.
Bye.